Hello everyone, welcome to the new Catholic Positive Energy. I'm George, your host, and here is my co-host, the Chinese waterfall. I talked about this Chinese waterfall last week, and now what I'm always going to do my very best to do is to have this amazing Chinese waterfall here in the shot with me. So I'm going to be sitting behind the waterfall, and you'll see this the whole time. Once again, I got this waterfall from Chinatown in Los Angeles, from a Chinese store, from a Chinese person, so therefore that's why I call it the Chinese waterfall. I think it's really amazing. Look at these colors right here in the middle. Listen to the water flowing. Almost makes you sound like you're at a river. And as a matter of fact, one thing I'd like to invite all of you to do right now is let's spend about 15 seconds. Close your eyes and let's meditate and just think about positive energy, Catholic positive energy, and just listen to the sound of the waterfall as we're doing this. This is going to be a regular thing. Sometimes I may do it at the beginning of the broadcast, sometimes might be in the middle, or even towards the end. But this will be a regular thing we're doing here, because I know this can help all of us to relax and instill a much wonderful sense of positive energy that we didn't have before. So about 15 seconds. I'll keep tracking here. Wasn't that amazing? Like I say, and I know this, that this is why I made this community, I understand that there are overwhelmingly amounts of negative energy out there in the world. Unhappy things that may happen to us or that we have to go through, and then by the time we get home at the end of the day, we're not at our best. Now, for those of you who have a tendency to come home from work or wherever it is you come from, to come home with a very positive, exciting attitude, I commend you on that. I really do. I really commend you on that. I know a lot of people out there, including myself, who have very stressful jobs, who we're not where we want to be yet, and we focus a lot on the fact that, well, I got a job and I don't really want to be there. I'm just there because I need to make a living. You know? Yeah, I mean, we don't all have that dream job yet, but that's our goal, and we will get there. Don't ever say that you can't. What I mainly want to talk about today are, as I've said in the title of the broadcast, you can see positive people with negative pasts. Now, if you've watched my second video from last year, Catholic Positive Energy number 2, and I number every single broadcast just to know how many I've done and to know where to find a certain one. Have any of you ever seen, and I know I've posted this on the page and in the group in the past, you could go on Facebook and search for it, you'll probably see it still there. I've seen these postings on Facebook a lot, especially from my dear friend Holly. I have never met a positive person with an easy past. Now, all of you watching this, you know a lot of people. Some positive people, maybe not so positive, people who love you, people who love everyone. Now, think about the most positive person in your life. Just think, you don't have to share it with me. Did they have an easy past? Do they still have it easy now? Did they have to grow up and a rough environment. I'll share a little bit with you about mine, for those of you who may not know. And I talked about myself at length in Catholic Positive Energy number 1 and 2, and I know I talked about my backstory a little bit in earlier videos. First of all, I want to make this clear ahead of time. I am not going to be bad-mouthing anybody or putting people down. I'm just going to tell you things about myself. First thing I want to say, I love my parents. I do. I'm an only child, grew up in Southern California, mostly in the Riverside County area, and I was a very hyper kid. I was starved for attention, and there were a lot of times that my parents didn't like that. And I didn't always listen. There were a lot of times, when I was spanked and I was yelled at, and it tore me apart. Really tore me apart. But I was a kid, I didn't understand what was going on. And honestly, I don't feel that spanking a young kid, especially on a consistent basis, that's not a good thing. Because a lot of times if you do have a child who is hyperactive, misbehaved, starved for attention, you need to communicate to them in a way that they will understand. Spanking, shouting, and making them go to their room is not the right thing. It'll scar them for life. I didn't have an easy past. I didn't grow up in a rich family. I have no brothers, no sisters. I was pretty much, in a sense, very lonely a lot throughout most of my life. My parents were always there for me, especially my mom. And I do love them. And like I said, I'm not bad-mouthing my parents, but I had it really rough. And I remember I had a lot of bad experiences in school as a kid, always being yelled at by my teachers for talking during class. And it usually, when you sit kids close together, a lot of them would talk to me or to each other, and then all of a sudden, it becomes a big thing. And they don't want you talking during class. There were a lot of times when I wasn't even talking. Somebody was talking to me, and I tried to ignore them because I didn't want the teacher yelling at me. But the teacher yelled at me anyway, in front of everybody. I felt humiliated, embarrassed, torn apart. Felt like I didn't deserve to be yelled at. I was trying to ignore them. I wasn't talking to them. There were times I was beaten, spanked. There was another time when I was walking home from school one day when I was 13, and I didn't look both ways before I crossed the street. The sun was in my eyes. I got hit by a car, a minivan. Broke my left leg. I have 2 metal plates in my left leg. So, I'm sure obviously a lot of you can see that I am a positive person now, or at least I try my very best to be. Because I love each and every one of you. I love my life. Life is good. Or I should say, I'll call this one of my good said vibes because my last name is Good said. Remember, life is good said. That'll be a good said vibe. Even though that life can have an overwhelmingly amount of negative energy that you may go through, you may not always have a pleasant day, but it all depends on how you look at it. Remember, for the people you see out there in the world, whether past or present, I'm always going to put Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers, on the top of the list. He was a very positive human being, a very kind, loving human being, one of the most kindest, loving human beings who ever lived. There were times he had, he was angry. Before his widow, Joanne Rogers, passed away, she said that there were times he had a temper. There were times he would get angry at his grandsons, or having a rough day at work. But I'm very confident that he would handle any kind of a difficult day better than most of us. Pardon me. But also, I have another dear friend, my dear friend Holly, who you've heard me talk about so much. I hope she's watching right now. She didn't have an easy life either. I won't go into too much detail, but I'll say she didn't have it easy. You know, she lost her father at a very young age, and some other things happened after that that were not the best pleasant experiences. Some things that I've never even experienced. She is one of the most wonderful, extraordinary, the most positive person I have ever met in my life. She has a Facebook community called Positive Quotes with author Holly, and another smaller discussion group that I help her manage called Your Joyful Place. So she didn't have an easy past either, but today she is one of the most positive people in the world, the most positive person I've ever met in my life. So just because you may see somebody now who tries to put on a happy face more than half the time, who tries to look on the bright side all the time, tries to influence other people in the world to be positive as well, that doesn't necessarily mean that people like myself had the most wonderful life growing up as a kid, or even as a teenager or a young adult. I didn't. I had a lot of bad memories in my past. But that's why one good thing is to let them all go. Let it go. That's ultimately what you have to do. Move on. If you hang on to all these negative things, and sometimes the really, really bad ones are the ones that are hardest to let go of. Loss of a loved one, traumatic experiences, something really, really unfair that may have happened to you that you didn't deserve, that you couldn't prevent. Trust me, I've been through all of that. I know what it feels like, and I sympathize with every single person who may be going through these things as well. When you wake up every day, or if you think about these things all the time, these bad experiences, you will not become a positive person. I'll just be blunt. Obviously, I can't make it would take me a lot of time to make a 12-step program or 13 steps or, however many there may be necessary to get from point A to point B and then eventually, ultimately, to point Z. For those of you who have had some very terrible things happen to you in your life that stand out in your mind as something that you can't easily just let go of and move on like that, ultimately that's where you need to be. Let it go, move on, water under the bridge, say goodbye. Definitely pray and ask the Lord to take this away from me and send it to the foot of the cross. You know what I find helpful as far as getting rid of a really bad, nagging memory? I spend time with the most positive, loving people I know. People who I'm close to, and I talk to them and ask them, how do I get rid of this? How do I let it go? I mean, I know you're going to tell me that I have to let it go and that I have to move on. It's not always easy. But the people who love you will always have the best answers. They truly will. Every single one of us out there has people who love us. I remember a little while back, I was communicating with somebody through Facebook. I won't mention the name. I was watching my dear friend who I was just talking about, Holly. I was watching her broadcast. She has one just like me. And somebody wrote in the comments that they were contemplating taking their life. Now, I didn't know this person, and I still don't know this person personally because they don't live near where I live. I actually got in touch with that person, and I said, why do you want to do that? Please don't do that. Don't take your own life. And I spent some time communicating with them back and forth through Facebook. And now they don't feel that way anymore. Now, I'm not giving myself all the credit. I mean, I was there for this person when they needed someone. Basically, they felt lonely and other people in their life were cutting them out, not speaking to them anymore, and they were all alone. So they were unhappy. Here's another thing I want to touch on while we're here. Anytime any of you meet someone who is really depressed and falling apart and is thinking some very terrible things like hurting themselves or anything relating to that, here's something I would like you to do. Please do this for me. Since I'm the one talking here, I'm going to say it like this. Please do everything you can to talk to these people and convince them that they are loved. Convince them that hurting themselves is not the answer. Let them know that they are important. They are valued. They are just as important human beings here on the planet as any of our world leaders, any of our prominent, famous people who are adored by a lot of people. These people who feel alone and sad or anything relating to that, let them know they are loved. And you can even tell them that they can get in touch with me. I'll say my email address right here. I might have said it wrong in the past. I apologize. CatholicPositiveEnergy@gmail.com, and that is one E between positive and energy. I think in the past I've said two. CatholicPositiveEnergy@gmail.com. One E between positive and energy. And you're also more than welcome to contact me through the Facebook page. You can send a message to me there. Or also even the YouTube channel if you're able to. But I want you all to know I'm the type of guy who cares about everybody. I really do. Just a lot of people don't always care about others. And that tends to, make me a little unhappy, but I still care. And when you show someone kindness, because a lot of people don't do that nowadays, it really speaks to them. Like if you're driving in a shopping center and you want to get to where you're going fast, you want to get that parking space, or you want to, excuse me, on the Facebook page or something on my phone. So I always do this. When you let people walk past you, you stop and you're willing to let the pedestrians walk by. They're very happy about that, because more and more nowadays, people are not that kind. But when they see that you're being kind, it really speaks to them. Because a lot of people have stress and negative energy in their lives. When you show kindness, sincere, loving kindness, people like Mr. Rogers, the people around you, it's not guaranteed, but hopefully more than half the time, they will be kind to you in return. And maybe you'll turn their lives the other way around just by smiling at them. We need to make peace with ourselves. That needs to be the ultimate goal. Make peace with ourselves. And remember, just because you see people like myself who seem like we're very happy, that doesn't mean that we had it easy. I wasn't always positive. I didn't even know anything about positive energy until about 3 years ago. Well, yeah, around that. I never even really heard those words or used those words. Now I do, all the time. And it's great. Never been happier before in my life. Life is good. That's another good said vibe. So, people like myself or my dear friend Holly, we didn't have easy pasts, but we have seen both sides of the coin. So we understand that if you have had a very unhappy, unpleasant life, you haven't been around enough positive energy in your lives, even as an adult, people like myself, we can help you. Basically, please don't let your negative energy consume your lives. Don't let that define you, who you are. Well, I am who I am because my life isn't going that great. No, you're not. You are not who you are because of your problems. That is not what makes you who you are. You are who you choose to be. Your thoughts, your happiness, how you react to things, that's all you. And you can still put on a happy face and a positive attitude even in the most unpleasant situations. May not be fun, may not be easy, easier said than done, but it's not impossible. And it's a process. It's not going to happen like that. But it's something, continue to listen to my broadcasts and continue to, there's also lots of very positive music on YouTube. I find wonderful things all the time. You got to watch them. I'll try to share them here on Facebook. But remember all of these, please. You are loved. And I have never met a positive person with an easy past. Hope you understand now what this whole message was about. It was nice being able to speak to you from the heart today. I didn't write any of this down prior to speaking to you. I just spoke from the heart. Something I love to do. There are a lot of other times when I will prepare something and read it to you guys. But I'm very glad. And this being my first broadcast with the Chinese waterfall in the shot with me. Please let me know if you like the waterfall. I plan on having this with me every broadcast in the future as much as possible. Really sets a positive tone here. Like I said, there were some positive people. Mr. Rogers was best known for his cardigan, sweaters, sneakers, his positive, loving, kind attitude, his love for music. He loved the piano, and he loved to always talk in the form of a song. That's what he's best known for. My friend Holly has a Tibetan singing bowl that she likes to play that we all love. It's amazing. I'll admit musical instruments have not been my forte. I don't know. Maybe one day I might learn. Starting to regret not learning as a kid. But definitely this is something that I'm going to be using for my image, the Chinese waterfall. And by the way, I am actually part Chinese, a little bit on my mother's side. So I'm definitely not picking on anybody or putting anyone down. I love the Chinese culture. There are a lot of amazing things. They have wonderful food. Very amazing culture. Truly. So please let me know what you think of the Chinese waterfall. Hope you think it is a nice touch. So, all right, you guys. Hope you've learned a lot. Thank you to those of you who are always active here, who keep in touch with me. I love seeing your wonderful comments. And I love hearing what you think and how you feel about Catholic Positive Energy. It makes me very happy. I like continuing to see growth here on the Facebook page, the Facebook group, and the YouTube channel. Now we have 17 subscribers in our YouTube channel. We have over 200 in the Facebook group. Please go over to the YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button. We would love to see you there as well. And hopefully in the near future, I'll be uploading more videos about positive food. Definitely. So, take care, have a good week, and please remember, dignification is better than criticism.